Hey guys, my name is NosferKitty and welcome back to Red Embrace Hollywood. We are in Markus's little shop. He has been reading the TV guide like Grandpa Emerson. And we're just gonna get right back on into this. So, we're just gonna read this again. I do try. He rubbed a thumb along the magazine's cover, chuckling to himself. Well, business is rather slow, as you can see. Is there anything I can do for you? Perhaps a particular topic you wanted to discuss. I have many ears, and all of them are yours in this very moment. I have a question about you. What made you decide to run a sex shop? I have My reasoning is rather simple. The more sordid and visceral something is, the more society and its morals label it as taboo, the more it fascinates the repressed masses. You turn on the TV or read the news and see for yourself. Oh, turn on the TV or read the news and see for yourself. Rock and roll, Kennedy's assassination tape, the Manson murders, Dracula, Kurt Cobain, the crucifixion most famously. He gestured towards the television screen above the counter, its picture silently buzzing with static. Nothing is more tantalizing than the natural instincts we're made to feel guilty for. Sex, violence, power. Myself, I find sexuality to be the most interesting and easily exploitable of mankind's desires. And so I've set up my charming little shop, which serves the dual purpose of providing modest income, while also constructing a psychological exhibit for me to study. It's also quite amusing to force their city leaders into visiting me here. Nobody can act truly high and mighty among a sea of phalluses. Fallacy? My God, what a missed opportunity. Bruh. How old are you exactly? Well, as a man of the past, the present, and the future, that question is a mighty difficult one. Markus, I feel like you've been old for a long time. Like, old man. Like, you could just wipe everyone off the earth if you really wanted to. Let's just do away with bothersome numbers and say, I'm however old you believe me to be. Alright, if you say so. He gave a short, satisfied nod. Do you know how vampire physiology works? Ah, yes. The most lurid of questions that everybody's simply dying to know. Markus let out a gentle sigh. We can replicate most of human biology without too much effort. But it's not a subconscious affair, like breathing was as mortal. Producing arousal usually requires concentration or mental attunement, the subject willing their blood to flow downwards. Blushing is also possible, in fact, but what kind of pathetically cutesy creature would choose to blush on purpose? It loses the entirety of its charm, so you'll almost never find a vampire so shamelessly pretentious. Though, I suppose there are exceptions. So, why do you wear the sunglasses? They're to make people feel smart when they so cleverly pick up on the irony. After all, a simple fashion statement would be just too incongruous with my elusive nature. Next question. Are you allied with any of the leaders? Have you already forgotten my advice, sister? A smart man doesn't hitch a ride. Wheels break down, but the will to keep walking? Never. But you work for Charisse, don't you? I do? Huh, they never tell me these things anymore, you see? Who keeps forgetting to send an old man memorandums? Markus clicked his tongue, quirking a brow at me. I love you. I really do. You're adorable. So, okay, Randall and Markus are my favorite now. The truth of the matter is, I contribute to every side, and I assist none. Like all supposedly philanthropic causes, they hold no meaning for me. Once upon a time, I pretended to care, as most people do, but no longer. His gaze drifted idly away, as if the subject had somehow lost his interest. What do your Golgotha visions look like? His face! He's got this look like, bitch. Really? My visions, dearest Callie, are of potential, of what may be there, of what exists in other realities, but is not yet discovered in our own. After all, we merely skim the topmost layer of existence, though, on occasion, our mind can look past it. He stared off into space for a long time, collecting his thoughts before continuing. In the grand scheme of time, we've only just discovered the subatomic in the distant skies. And only because these things allowed themselves to be discovered by our eyes. How many other things are invisible to our senses, to the paltry workings of science? How many of these things exist beyond our clumsy, self-important ideas of the metaphysical? Ghosts and deities bored enough to obsess over our tiny selves. How many things are out there that we just cannot comprehend? In the centuries to come, we'll look back on ourselves like we have, time and time again, and smile at our quaint ideas. Smile at the idea of religion like we now smile at little children. Smile at gravity like we now smile at those who thought the world flat. Smile at simple morality like we now smile at apes. Markus let out a faint chuckle, but it sounded more wistful than mocking. My visions allow me to see these alternate futures laid upon our own, and it's always quite distressing. Good and evil weren't always what they are now, nor will they be the same in 100 years. Thus, it seems folly to me, as a man for as a man for all ages, to chain myself to some moral rock of the century. We look back at the atrocities of earlier days and say, times were different then. But I desire to look from the future to the present, to see what we will one day consider primitive and backwards thinking, these outdated ideas we've carried past our lifetime. I see. I want this one. Quite simple. Do as one pleases, and do unto others as they've done unto you. Treasure and protect those who bring you delight, but love and hate carefully, for those passions lose their meaning when tossed forth without care. But there is one thing I will never, ever abide: the abuse of innocence. Children in the childlike, and pets who are children in their own ways. There's a difference between the strong ruling the weak, and the strong abusing those who cannot defend themselves. That is not strength, for there is nothing noble about exercising power over the defenseless. Such abusers are simply weak themselves, perpetuating a cycle that they too endured. But I believe they should be discarded to build a stronger society. He ended with a note of bitterness in his voice, staring at the carpet. About something else. What's your relationship with Randall? He's emerging from a cocoon, struggling to free himself. Some nights, I don't know which holds more terrifying potential, Randall or his followers. Each one may be but a gentle lamb, full of kind intentions and innocent desires for safety, for freedom. A person is intelligent and wise, but people so easily become a pack of animals, a hive mind, feeding off each other's fear and hatred for the enemy. That's all I can ever say. Heath? Oh, please, no. Please don't use that. Please, no. That is wrong. That is absolutely wrong. Don't ever say that. Heath. He's a lost boy if I've ever seen one. A circular block that can't fit into a square slot. And a star child who doesn't understand our world. Alas, self-loathing is just another form of narcissism. Perhaps even the most severe form. Absolved in self-pity, misery, your thoughts always focused on your own depression. That's why his use of drugs is constant. Oh, wow. Though most of them aren't narcotics of the bloodstream, for drugs come in many forms. Television, movies, video games, food, sleep, celebrities, music. Everything we use to escape. Your views on Cherise? I've always had an unusual fondness for the Red Queen. She possesses both the kindest and cruelest heart of any vampire in Hollywood. Her protective desires clash with the visions of a utopia. Though she longs to fix the broken and wounded, all she knows how to do is destroy. I will always admire the beauty of her vulnerable soul. About something else. I'm gonna get stuck in that accent and it's gonna suck. I think that's all for now. Very well. We'll see each other soon again, I'm sure. I read that backwards, but it's okay. I don't want to go see Heath. Can I go home? Leaving Markus's shop, I return to the dark streets. Fuck it. Maybe Randall will be there. Maybe Randall will be there. I hope Randall's there. I'm pathetic. Anyway. Deciding to pay Saturnalia a visit, I hopped into a taxi to drive downtown. A warm, nostalgic atmosphere welcomed me back inside the bar. I glanced around at the night's patrons and noticed two interesting groups standing in different spots. A cluster of younger-looking vampires by the bar, giggling and restlessly shifting in their seats. And some reserved, well-dressed Isari murmuring in a quiet corner, looking like they didn't want to be disturbed. Heath was there too, lingering quietly behind the bar as he wiped out a glass. Oh, buddy boy. Fuck. Look, we have to kind of be nice to him. Just a little bit. I stepped into the bar, waiting to catch Heath's attention. He stayed lost in thought for a short while longer, his glazed eyes staring off at nowhere in particular. But soon enough, our gazes finally met. Almost instantly, Heath broke into a smile, putting down the glass and stepping towards me. Jesus, buddy, you're more eager than I am. Callie. You came by alone this time? That makes things a little more comfortable, I think. Hi, just thought I'd stop in. And it makes me so happy that you did. I was a little worried about you, actually. Why? I'm sure you're still adapting to our world, trying to understand all its confusing people and parts. No matter how strong you are, it's hard not to feel overwhelmed sometimes. So, if there's anything you want to ask me, Callie, please do. Let's talk about someone else. You and Randall. He hates me. The only reason he ever comes into the bar is to spend time with other Mavar. And when he doesn't ignore me, he's giving me disgusted looks. We used to deal with each other a little better, but over time we grew further and further apart. The stronger Randall got, the more he seemed to hate me. I don't know if it's because of the war, or because we came to understand each other's natures more. We're just total opposites. That's probably why I got nothing, I want nothing to do with you. Do you know anything about his Ooh, that's not my grounded tread on. He doesn't want to try, Callie. It isn't like I hate him or bear any grudges against him. But it's alright. Some people just don't mix. What's your relationship with Markus? We've never really gotten along, Markus and me. His philosophy is just so dark and cynical. I'm sure you've already seen it for yourself. He and I aren't enemies, but I know he doesn't like me. And that makes it very uncomfortable for me to be around him. Is there a reason? He's never mentioned anything directly, if that's what you mean. Markus isn't outright abrasive like Randall usually is, but he's always a little cold to me. Look, here's the problem. You are very... The world is out to get me, oh my god. You need to chill. Fucking chill. Charisse works with him sometimes though, so I deal with him when he's around. He attempted to put on a smile, but it turned out more like a grimace. What do you think of Charisse? Watch her be like the best thing that's ever happened to him. Yep. Charisse is a very strong woman. One of the strongest I've ever met. His response was a little slow, where it's more cautious than normal. But sometimes I think her strength, the way she's so determined to make a safe, lawful society for us, is her biggest weakness. She focuses on the whole instead of the parts, the society instead of the individual people inside of it. The good of the many over the few, so she doesn't let herself get attached to people easily, or tries not to. Do you like working for her? All of a sudden it smells like pot in here. I like working for a good cause. Every job can be frustrating at times. I tell myself that a lot these days. Heath let out a short laugh. About something else. I had some questions. Oh, for feck's sake. Ugh. I don't really care. I hate saying that because, like, I should, but at the same time, I'm like, you're not, you mean jack to me, but I'm working through this game, and I want to discover everything. So, anyway. Well, I have a little skill in glamour. The Asari ability to take on someone else's appearance. But I've never been able to use hypnosis. Maybe it's because I'm still young, or I don't have the talent for it. Heath let out a small, self-deprecating chuckle. Like you, I didn't have a mentor when I was turned. Everything else I've learned I had to teach myself mostly. Glamour came to me quickly, but every time I use it, I get this strange feeling afterwards. So I don't practice it often. That's all there is. I don't think of my other powers very much. I'd prefer to never use them. He rubbed a finger along his cheek, shaking gently his head. ever turned another vampire? Heath quickly shook his head, looking a little distressed at the very thought. No, never. I don't ever want to either. Having to take somebody's life and then pulling them into our world forever? I just couldn't. A small shudder ran through him. What helps you find comfort as a vampire? Other people. Being around other people, I think. Both humans and vampires. Seeing humans still living their happy lives there, or here, that makes me feel warm. And seeing people in our society, our version of normal, living out theirs. I just don't like being alone for too long. It makes me start to wonder what I really am, what we really are. But being around others makes me feel less different, calmer, I think. That's probably why I still run this bar. Is there a meaning behind your necklace? Yes, I used to be religious. I think I still am. Helps remind me that I'm not alone. His fingers drifted up to the cross, lightly tracing along the metal with a reverent touch. This necklace was a Christmas gift from my mother. I've always treasured it. But it doesn't have any meaning behind that, or beyond that. I'm sorry if the story isn't as exciting as you'd hoped. Heath let out a faint laugh, his hand shifting back to his scarf. How do you normally feed? Really? This is why you look like that. I drink from glasses as much as I can, but sometimes there are willing donors who come around. I just don't like to feed from them very often. It feels so inhuman. This is why you're malnourished. No, we're not human. Feeding's part of our nature. I know. I just can't stand the idea. Feels wrong, serving yourself while draining somebody else, even if it doesn't hurt them permanently. It's a silly thing to think, but I can't help it. Whatever. That's all. Goodbye. So soon? No, but really, thank you for coming to talk with me. Stay safe, Callie. Reaching to pull out a cigarette. Whoa. Heath slowly turned away. Markus did say addictions. I want to talk to these kids. Curious, I started wandering towards the young group of vampires nearby. As I got closer, I realized they were whispering and pointing at a man further down the bar. He was huddled off by himself, shifting uncomfortably as he nursed his drink. Hey, are you Callie? One of the vampires suddenly reached out to tap my arm, offering me a hopeful grin. Could you introduce us, please? She nodded towards the man who was slowly shrinking further away. Yeah, could you, please? We're from San Fran, but we've heard so much about him, and we know you're friends. We did our research. Two other vampires chimed in eagerly. I'd rather not, actually. Aww. Well, fine, I guess we'll go over alone. A disappointed wave of sighs and grumbles ran through the group. Come on, guys. Today's gonna be the day we meet him, Callie or no Callie. With that, they shuffled away from me and towards the man. Before long, he was surrounded by a new entourage, and I lost sight of him in their chattering bodies. But I had already chosen not to get involved, so I kept my distance. Fuck! That might have been Randall! God damn it! You dumb bitch! I left the bar's quiet ambiance, returning to the street. When I glanced towards the sky, I realized sunrise was on its way. So I decided to head back to my hotel room. It had been an interesting evening, though it was hard to believe my sixth night as a vampire was already ending. Brain. Yet, here I was, steadily adapting to the new world around me, changing in ways I couldn't yet understand. I returned to my room feeling at least somewhat satisfied. But as I flicked off the lights, settling into the cozy darkness of sleep, somewhere in my mind, an uneasiness began to shift. And here's where we're going to end it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, or any game suggestions, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll see what I can do about playing things, because we all know my computer's kind of a piece of crap. And please, please, please feel free to subscribe if you're not already, because I'd love to have you around. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.